What's good, family? This is Daryl Omar Shabazz with Novel Lead here. And I saw the movie Sorry to Bother You, and it was probably one of the most amazing, just mind blowing, just most fulfilling ride of a movie I've seen in quite some time. And ever since having my son, we've been watching a lot of movies. This one was so different because it covered so many themes relevant to our life as Americans, at least my life as American. I'm not sure where you're watching this from. I really have struggled to really because I do not do movie reviews whatsoever. So if this doesn't follow the format or whatever of a normal movie review, I do philosophy, I do religion, I do psychology, I do politics, I do much higher overarching themes and analysis, and that's what we're going to focus on here. I'm not going to talk about cinematography. I'm going to talk about the actual themes of the movie and what happened that you may not have noticed immediately. So I'm gonna preface it by telling you straight up. I used to work in door-to-door marketing. I didn't do telemarketing, but I feel like door-to-door marketing is a lot worse. You're face to face there with people. You can see how much they don't want you to be there, and that real life experience, which I love so much. Every time Cassius would call somebody, the whole room would shake, and then he drops right there inside someone's home, and it is just like that. I've had people answer the door wearing just a towel. I've had grown, old, wrinkly men come to the door in their boxers, screaming and yelling at us to get off the lawn. We've had the cops call us. It was such a crazy experience doing door-to-door marketing. I wouldn't take it back for anything. But this movie also touched on some very dark sides to the entire aspect and the entire idea of this very archaic system in which we have social media now. We have so many ways and things in which if someone really wanted a product and they really wanted an encyclopedia which they're selling there, or they wanted doors and windows, there's Home Depot now. Like there's a phone. They can call you if they really, and they tell you this while you're training. It's like you're not doing something that is the most upfront and necessary task for humanity. You're not doing something that really demands the most vibrant personality, because you can honestly lose your vibrant personality. You can really lose your glow and your ambition doing something like door-to-door marketing or sales, because there's so much rejection involved. And honestly, I'll talk about my personal experience. I won't keep going you. So I worked for a company called Renew by Anderson, and I worked for two companies. I worked for Power and I worked for Renew by Anderson. These are actually competitors. So I can tell you that my experience with Renew by Anderson was very all right. I got about $10 base play plus commission, so you can end up making some really good money. But if you didn't do anything, you only made about $200 a week. You're working some pretty in the middle of the freaking day hours from about 2 o'clock to about 8 or 9 o'clock. You get back home, and I have to walk home a mile and a half after that to get back because I don't drive. Really rough experience. But I explored some of the most beautiful neighborhoods in New Jersey, South Jersey, and North Jersey doing door-to-door marketing. That's another aspect of this that I really couldn't take back. I would work while sick. I would work while exhausted. I would work not having got sleep the next day. Um, it was just something that was all consuming, and seeing that relationship aspect as well. I wanted to say this before, but jumping back to the movie, seeing that relation aspect between Cassius and Detroit, doing something like marketing can really negatively affect you, because the personality that you have to maintain, and this is going to the analysis of the white voice, the mentality. You can probably hear it in my voice like somewhat now that I'm recording, and I know that I'm conscious of it. I also grew up in the suburbs, so that's an aspect of why I sound like this too. But the thing, like, they're like, oh, you already sound white because you're speaking proper, or your voice might be a little nasal. But when you're doing that and you're face to face with people, and your lifestyle doesn't reflect the idea of what we're selling, like products that are very expensive. It's about $500 to $1,000 starting for our windows, and we're trying to sell you about two, like, if we could, we'll sell you 20 or 40 windows in your house. So we're looking to sell you about $20,000, $40,000 worth of products, not to mention the doors that we sell, which start about 1,500. Very, very expensive, very premium, high quality product that oftentimes is not necessary, because you can get windows for about 50 to $100 a pop. and then you're done. You can install them yourself. You don't need to go through this entire process that we're offering you with our own installation, building our own products. But when you have someone who's really charismatic at your door, trying to sell you, trying to nail you on this product, and really working to close this deal with you, it gets very hard to say no unless you just straight up don't need that product. I know people that trained me in both companies, very aggressive, very manipulative, very underhanded. The thing that I said often in the company, which eventually led me to leave, not because I didn't like sales or marketing, but it just felt very disconnected to the human experience to me, was it basically teaches you to be a sociopath. You are working in a way that you gaining something from this person, you selling them these, oh, and you're going to neighborhoods in which you can tell this person. I'll drop a few fucking things on you because this video focuses on capitalism, but you'll be going to neighborhoods in which you know people have a mortgage. Having a mortgage is no different than really having rent, but it's the same idea that you don't own your own home. That's not a home that you bought cash. That's not a home that you can actually afford. You're living in a house for rent. But instead of renting it from a homeowner or something like that, you're renting it from the bank. So if you do have a massive upsell and if you only make about 30,000, even make $100,000 a year, and you have a major upsell now of you spending $25,000, in which there was not $25,000 in your budget before that you had to even worry about. Now you're in a monthly payment plan for the next 5 years or so, paying back that $25,000 plus some sense of interest rate. You're not really sitting in the most comfortable financial positions anymore, no matter how much money you make. Unless you really need the windows and you understand how they can benefit you in the long run, or you plan on reselling your home within the next 5 years, you're oftentimes signing someone up for debt slavery. You're signing someone up to be paying bill, and when you're looking an old woman in the face, and you know this on the other side, you know how much expensive your product is, you know how long they're going to be paying this off. It gets a little weirder trying to close that deal unless you can honestly shut off your humanity. So I will get off myself because I can talk about myself all day and night and door marketing, and I'll get back to Cassius. But I feel like I hopefully put you in the shoes that Cassius is in from a very personal, very real perspective of someone who's actually done it and has been in that field before, is that everything that you saw about that is so real. And that was the part about the movie that really startled me, really hooked me in, really made me resonate with this movie at an entirely different level because I went through it. I went through the relationship drama of coming home, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you had a great day that day and you got a bunch of freaking leads and your partner did not have that day. So there's a disconnect there of you wanting to feel like the king of the castle. You want to just be happy. You want to be, but you have all these real life issues. Everything that you had before you left the house is still there when you get back. So it's like your workplace either becomes your haven or your hell very easily if everything else around you is not working out in your favor. And it seems like Cassius goes through this hero's journey in which he does not know that he's a hero whatsoever. So let's focus 1,000% on the movie from this point forward. So Cassius comes into the job at Worry Free from his friend Salvador, and he has the worst attitude he can, and that's desperation. I felt like that was the thing that cinched his entire fate from that point forward, because these people are talking, and these people are much more close knit than you can ever imagine, because they are the same underlings to somebody else's bottom line. So the way that you feel on the bottom of the totem pole, and you feel disposable, you feel usable, you feel as if you're doing grunt work in which, as the man says, I just need to know that you have some initiative that you can read basically to get this done. And we had to memorize our script. We can keep reading our script off the screen like they were able to. It puts you in a very, very weird situation when your boss is in the exact same spot and you can see it. And then their boss is in the exact, and it's like this never ending chain of this artificial hierarchy of let me put my balls in your forehead so I can feel better about myself so I don't fucking shoot myself in the face or jump off the bridge because you're doing something that's essentially fucking humane, which is raising sociopaths. And I mean, it's not always like that as well. I met a lot of friends in the job that were great, but I also met a lot of people in the job that were like, I'm like, are you real? Like, are you a real human being at this point in your life? You've been working here for over a year, and you still haven't made a leader yet. You still haven't gotten a promotion yet. You still haven't moved, and you're gone wherever you were when you first came in there. You're gone. So Salvador is telling like Cassius, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. There's so many scenes with Salvador, and I feel like Salvador, in that relationship aspect with Salvador and Detroit, Salvador represents that part of Cassius that is completely fed up. That is completely, I've been there, I've done that, I got the T-shirt. 3 months ago, they told me the exact same thing. Dude, let me tell you, it is not what you think it is. Everything that you thought it was walking in the door, it is not like that. Let me tell you. And Cassius doesn't listen. And it's like Cassius doesn't listen from an entirely different point of view, in which Salvador and everybody else in this movie seems to be a far more external character. That's my baby boy in the background. Um, he's fussing. He's getting some food in him. Salvador freaking fed up, and he's so external. He's so out of body, so loud, so boisterous, so opposite of what Cassius seems to be until Cassius is in his strike zone. And I'm the exact same way as Cassius. Is that Cassius is the protagonist of the story because he's the only one that is internally reflective. Everybody else in this movie is dealing with the world. Everyone else in this movie is dealing with society. Everyone else in this movie is listening to what he said and what she said and what this person's going through and what this person's going through. Cassius is dealing with Cassius's own life. And watching interviews with Boots Riley and the entire cast of, I was so obsessed with this movie. I've only seen it like a couple weeks ago. I think like 4th of July weekend was the first time I've ever seen this movie before. And now it's 13 days, a little bit more than that. It's about 15 days later. I'm finally recording this. I've had 15 days of really meditating on this, 2 weeks of trying to get this crap down. It's so intense. And Cassius is just, you understand completely why he's doing what he's doing to a certain extent. That everyone, like, it comes in a way for me as being in that field, and it's like, you guys are really fucking up my flow. And this is a Cassius perspective. You guys are really fucking up my flow. You guys are really fucking up my life right now. You guys are really fucking up my entire position. You know, my uncle's about to be foreclosed on. And it's like, if you guys are so obsessed with worry free and you guys are so stressed out about the way the world is, how about you guys get your paper up? How about you guys get your bread up? How about you guys make a real movement and you fix your own life so you can fix life for other people? And that's exactly what Cassius does, is that he gets the promotion, he works hard, and he tries to play both sides against the middle. And in this way, it's like, I'm not trying to be an oppressor. You know, it's like, fuck worry free, fuck slave labor, fuck manpower, fuck all this other shit you guys are talking about. I need money. You know, my uncle's talking about signing up for worry free, and it's like he has to take that elevated role in which he now has to support his uncle. The man who's taking care of him, supposed to be guiding him, supposed to be educating him about the world, has slave mentality. He has the same work hard mentality, 3 hots in a cot mentality, that if I walk away with the bare ass minimum from this situation, at least I have my livelihood, at least I have my life, at least I have a place to stay. And that's not at all what Cassius is about. And it seems to be that kind of level in which Cassius is going from that makes him break free of that mold. And the other side of that would be Detroit. Detroit represents the more free spirited side of Cassius, wanting to control your own destiny, wanting to express yourself, wanting to leave an impact, and wanting to feel as if you're really, due to your talents and due to your ability, you're really leaving people better off than what you came in with. And I feel like that's the aspect of the job in which this movie circles around, is that it starts off very innocent. It starts off as this very normal, I just got a job. That same feeling. I'm so excited to have this new job. And it's like, it's something that I'm good at. You know, I'm great at talking to people. I'm great at sales. I'm great at marketing. And it's like, I'm just so happy to freaking be here. And when you're selling something that people don't need, and you're selling something that people like, they're not even thinking about, and you can close that deal, let me tell you, man, it changes your entire perspective of self. It gives you a sense of power. It gives you a sense of like authority within the universe, that you can talk someone into selling anything. You can talk someone into buying their left toe off their own foot if you really wanted to. And that's a very necessary, very great skill to have. And this is when the movie hits its kind of turning point for me, in which you're introduced to two other themes and aspects of this movie, of life in itself. You find the anti-hero and you find the antagonist. You find the two people on polar opposite sides of this battle, in which it's not about your livelihood, it's not about your life, it's not about you being good at your job, it's about me for the most part. Um, and it comes off in two very different ways. First off is the character Squeeze, which is the anti-hero. He's the character with the knowledge and with the passion, and he's just kind of moving town to town and starting chaos essentially. Like if you look at it from a very rational perspective, he's definitely starting chaos. There's a problem before he gets there, and there's an overall issue in this country, period, when it comes to labor rights. And later on in this video, if you stick that long, I might go on a rant about it, but maybe I'll do that for save that for another time. Is that there's a general issue in this country with labor rights, no matter what field you're working in. I worked in restaurants. There needs to be a workers' union for restaurant employees more than any other employee in the world because we don't even get paid properly. Um, Telemarketing union, that's a new one for me, but it's very interesting because it goes off of Boots Riley's perspective of this is the solution for the world. Um, I don't like this. I do like it, but I don't like it. I call him my anti-hero because Squeeze on his own is not capable of executing this movement and fulfilling this. He's struggling up into the point, and he sees the need for Cassius in this because one, this is Cassius's territory and neighborhood, his stomping ground. Cassius has the actual leadership qualities necessary in order to do this. Cassius is much better at the job than anybody else is, and it's just Cassius's way with people. Obviously, Cassius's ambition that if he did apply it far earlier in the movie, that you know what, using the same feeling that I'm doing something that makes an impact, I'm doing something for the forces of good, I'm doing something that makes me feel fulfilled, that makes me feel important. If he would have done that earlier for the Union strike movement, it would have been a very different movie, and that's kind of where I thought the movie was going to go. I wasn't expecting the movie to be what it was. And I guess 17 minutes in, that's kind of weird to talk about. But I really wasn't expecting this. It's kind of unnecessary, but very obvious competition between Cassius and Squeeze, and it's like this Squeeze character is like he's almost an antagonist in a way because he's kind of taking everything away from Cassius at that point. If Cassius is the leader and Cassius is the one with all these amazing qualities, he's the protagonist. His kind of drive to want to be good at your job, if he wasn't selling slave labor, of course, wanting to be good at your job, you know, I can't control the universe, but I can control myself type of mentality. That seems to be something that Detroit needs desperately. Is that Detroit, as much of a free spirit as she wants to be, she's very reactionary. She doesn't really have any sense of purpose in this movie. She doesn't really, like, effectively change things. She doesn't accomplish what it is that she wants so desperately to accomplish. It's just kind of a facade with her. Is that you even find parts of the movie in which she's doing the white voice to do the exact same. And this is kind of the point with her character, is that she's a reflection of Cassius, and everything that Cassius is doing and going through, she basically reflects. You know, giving up your body to feel this sense of purpose or feel that you're getting back at somebody, but ultimately you do everything but sex with someone who doesn't really care about you and you don't really care about them, and then the person that you supposedly love, the person that you supposedly care so much about, is being turned into a freaking horse. And if your relationship was just slightly better, just a little bit better, and you guys saw where each other was coming from, and Cassius is a terrible partner and a terrible boyfriend as well, Cassius wouldn't have went to that party. Cassius wouldn't have turned to that horse. It would have been something which, you know what, man, I really got to stick with my girl on this one. Or is there a way that we can balance this out, that I can finish up here and then come with you guys with her afterwards? You know, I really can't do this without my girl. I really can't, as a real man would fucking do, I really can't do this without my partner. But it's like the movie kind of sets it up in a way in which it's kind of a warning sign as well for men. Like, so watch out there, is that once you sell your soul, and I'm going to get right to it because this is something I talk about in Novel Leading Period. This is the main frame of the movie I want to focus on. Once you sell your soul, there is no going back. You know, your life is that isolation. There's a certain point in the movie in which Cassius has everything but anything that fucking matters. anything but mad. Cassius no longer has friends. Cassius no longer likes his job. Cassius no longer has a girlfriend. He no longer has purpose in the universe. It's the Cassius's life revolves around worry free. He does nothing else but work. He has no other purpose for existence but work. And it's kind of cruel and kind of sad because that's honestly how men are painted in this society. It's a very eerie mirror. And I had parts of this in my life too. Very rather recently I was going through this with the job that I was had. And I wasn't even making money like Cassius was making, but just as a man, like I'm going to work and me working excuses everything else that I'm doing as a man. Me not being emotionally available is excused because I worked. So fuck you. I don't have to listen to your problems. I want to take a nap. My life stops when I clock out. My life stops, and now all I have to do is worry about myself again. You know, I don't have to like take care of my responsibilities. Like I would neglect so many other things I was working on. I couldn't even really get Novel Lead or TWL off the ground because I worked that day. So I'm tired now. Even if I wasn't tired, I worked, so I'm done. I fulfilled my purpose. I fulfilled my quota. I put in my 8 hours. I put in my even 5 to 8 hours. I'm finished. You know, and it leads to so many issues in masculinity because there's so much more to being a man, and I really feel like this movie exposes that there's so much more to be. And this is also why Squeeze fucks his girlfriend. This is why Squeeze gets the girl. Is there's so much more to being a man than working. There's so much to being a man than money. There's so much more to being a man than anything that Cassius as a protagonist shows. Is that it's great, it's amazing, beautiful thing to be good at your job. But as a man, that aspect of being a king, that aspect of being a warrior, that aspect of being a magician, being a lover, those four aspects and archetypes of your personality are so much more important than your bottom line, and women will tell you that. Especially now in 2019, like a girl can get her own fucking job, man. They don't need you. If you really think a woman's gonna go gaga and crazy because you got $100,000 coming in a year, it's nice and it definitely helps a lot. It definitely transforms your relationship situation, and a lot of fights and a lot of issues that could be avoided are avoided because your financial needs are met. But there are many people in this world that have all the money in the world, like not all the money in the world, of course, but they're well off financially. They have a great paying job, but their personality sucks. But they're abusive towards their partner, male or female. But what they're doing, just like this situation, it's something that's morally reprehensible that your partner just does not believe in, or your partner wouldn't care if you stopped and quit your job tomorrow, your partner would still be with you. And I can tell you that for a fact. My current and this isn't a good thing, and I'm not bragging about this, but my current relationship kind of proved that to me, that it was softer aspects of my personality that she was attracted to more than this hyper masculine bravado that I felt like I needed to portray beyond my relationship, because that's really what it is. When you're doing what Cassius is doing and you're working so hard for your career, you're working so hard for this external source outside of your family, outside of your sole purpose as given by God. Do feel like aspects of this was Cassius's purpose, because this reminds me so much of Samson. It reminds me so much of Saul. It's like this is a very, even though Boots Riley doesn't strike me as a Christian, there's so many principles of this movie that reflect these biblical stories that were told, that everyone is telling you not to do this, get out of this field of work, stop trying to do this, but you feel like you're going to prove them wrong. You feel like what you're doing is so right. Next thing you know, you're blinded, you're wounded, and your enemies are using you for their freaking entertainment. And the critical high point of this movie, in my eyes, this is just kind of the sell soul moment for me, is when Cassius gets to the party and he meets the antagonist of the story. We're introduced, as us as viewers, we're introduced to the antagonist of the story very early on. Steve Liss character, the owner, the proprietor, the mastermind behind Worry Free, the all-American boy, 6 foot fucking tall, and I mean like not 6 foot, I mean 6 foot tall fucking inches, just 10 feet fucking tall as a fucking man. Hardy fucking dude. Does not look like the CEO type, but he fucking is, and that's what makes him so much more prominent and potent. And let me tell you, that really like leaves an impact with people because you have the physical domineering qualities, and when someone can see you and they already feel submissive towards you based off how you look. And then back behind that, you have an intellect. Then back behind that, you have a vision. And then back behind that, you actually have charisma, and you're a party guy on top. Like Steve Lift represents so much that is wrong and what's right that it's hard to almost cast him as a villain. He can't see himself as a villain because he's so fucking lovable. Like even as like it really is again like I hate to say it really is like that. The primary thing like with my company when I was doing Power Home Remodeling, it was a freaking Christmas party in Atlantic fucking City. So you're at Atlantic City on the boardwalk, surrounded by casinos. You're not. I was pretty old when I was doing that. I was about 25. I think I just turned 25 basically a couple months before that. So 24, 25. Everyone else working there is like 19, fucking 20, just turned 21. Like they're children, and they're children going to Atlantic City for the umpteenth time of their life, or the first time of their life, or this is the only reason they go to Atlantic City for because the rest of their life is pretty boring and all they do is work. It's mind blowing to be going to these parties. It's my even like going to college, and I would say that kind of transitional point in college for me when I left for a bit, and I'm hanging out with the beautiful people. I'm hanging out with the popular kids, and I'm getting invited to pool parties. You know, we're going to the fucking bar. There's a bar I never went to. It's a really really short anecdote. Bar 145 in Kent, Ohio. If you're ever in Kent, check it out. But go to Watershoot Tavern first. But 157, we go to 157 after a pool party. We're spending the whole day doing some recreational activities that may be illegal in your personal country. But in Colorado, it's legal. In California, it's illegal. To give you some hint of what we were doing out there. Um, Popping fucking bottles, man. I didn't pay for shit. We go there, dude has like bottles on bottles on bottles. We're in college. Who has money? Like it was such a mind blowing experience. You know, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings that day. I had a little money for that. I paid for my own Buffalo Wild Wings and crap. But it was like such an amazing, beautiful experience going to all these different parties, seeing all these different people. But the net zero of all that is that you're there to study. You're there to focus. You're there to be meeting critical resources and people that for the rest of your life are going you have to network with and have some sense of rapport with. And when what these people are doing is partying, what these people are doing is basically wasting the brain. If you don't stay in that circle with these people, all that time that you spend is wasted. You know, and Steve Lift makes note of that. He says, these people are at every single one of my... Because if you're not at these parties, you don't get the benefits. You don't know what's going on. People look at you differently for the next one. It's harder to get back in that circle. And it's just that general kind of like a... It's its own failure. So it's imagine having a family get-together. Thanksgiving comes around, or Christmas comes around, and you don't show up. So... the next holiday isn't going to be for a month or so, or like maybe multiple months from now. And the only teeth in someone's mouth was that, oh, they weren't there. Everyone else was there, but you almost notice the people that are not there more than you notice the people that are there. And that really gets to the core issue of all this. Is Cassius is faced with complete and utter exclusion from his own circle. You know, so he is isolated. And this is where the devil wants. He's completely isolated. And it's blatant. He looks miserable. He's not taking care of himself anymore. You know, he's making good money. He could have very easily gone to the doctor to get that forehead checked out. But it seems like he got hit in the head with a can and he just kept going like it was nothing. Like that's admirable, and it's not. Let me tell you, when you get to that level, and you're breaking that point between dealing with people that only make up until about $30,000 a year, so that about $15,000 to $30,000 a year mentality. The way that people live their life when they're making under $30,000 a year is so much different when people are making about $30,000 to $100,000 a year. It's completely fucking different. And then when you're making $100,000 a year to $1,000,000 a year, completely freaking different being around those people. And when you're around people that broke $1 million annually, if you don't take care of yourself, you look like a fucking mark to them. If these people sneeze or cough, they go to the doctor. So it's like that basic mentality, this divide between hard work versus high value. And this is something, if you're listening this far into the video, that is very critical and very important. High value is what makes you money. High value is what gets you administration. High value is what gets you promotions. You making the company money, you being able to manage the people around you to get them to do the task at hand to make the company money. You occupying some position, you obtaining some level of knowledge, you performing some task that no one else can do is what makes you of value to a company. You working hard doesn't mean shit. And that's a very personal experience that I'm telling you about. It doesn't mean anything to these people. They take it completely for granted because that's what slaves do. Slaves work hard for no fucking extra money. That's communism. That's socialism right there. You work hard as fuck. You work your dick off your body. You work yourself into the freaking ground. And then you die for some minor illness that could have been fixed had you just gone to the doctor. You know, I have a cough right now that I probably get it. But that same mentality, if I'm sick, I don't get sick. I just keep working. You know, you definitely get sick. You know, there's bacteria and germs freaking everywhere. And even not, it's just a mentality thing. I don't go to the doctor because it's a scam and they charge you way too much money for it. But again, it's just that kind of like status symbol. You had a cough, so you spent $2,000 getting your cough checked out. You know, you didn't know what was wrong with you, so you spent $5,000 getting your checked out. You know, it's a status symbol. So if you're not occupying that, and then on top of that, you're selling out, and it is like you're whether or not you agree with the political system or not, what was going on in that movie, Cassius was definitely a sellout, and everyone's seen it. It doesn't matter how personal. Every single person there had a life. Every single person there has a family. You're not born on this earth without having a family or having something to look back to. So Cassius is on stage going nigga shit, nigga shit, nigga shit. It's like everyone else is going along. Everyone else is a fucking sheep. Everyone else is a sheep. They're just all there for entertainment. They're all there to be laughed. They're all there to get drunk and add some petty meaning to their miserable freaking lives. But what you did see is that Steve Lift character looking around in amazement of how Cassius, he's selling him like he's a white guy. White guys are really big on this crap, man. They pay attention to that. When you act like a coon, they pay attention to that. There's no sense of respect there. There's no sense of love there. They know that they can manipulate you from that point forward because you have no respect for yourself, you have no respect for your group, and you do not care about 400 years of you. If you don't care about 400 years of slavery, for you to be on stage saying nigga shit, nigga shit, you know, you don't care about yourself as a person. You don't give a fuck anymore at that point. And the fact that he's willing to do that for validation, he could have walked off the stage. He could have said no. He could have put his foot down. It probably would have made things a little bit more awkward. But there at least would have been that Mr. Blank level. You don't see Mr. Blank doing shit like that. He does the white voice, but he knows everything else that's going on around there. He says he's never been to these parties before, yet he knows exactly how to get to the magenta door. He's lying to you. He's hiding. That's why he has a eye patch on. He's hiding something from you. So I felt like there were two critical points of the movie, technically three. The first critical point of the movie is Cassius first signing up for the job and showing how desperate he was, that he's willing to lie, he's willing to cheat, he's willing to steal, he's willing to do anything out of the desperation of getting a job and making some money to feel important and feel like a big shot for the shot. The second major scene of that movie is a mixture of him selling out. But when he's made that montage, when he's making all the sales and closing on the deals, it's like there's two reflective scenes at the end of the movie. This is how you know he's being used. This is how you know he's in an effeminate position. He's in a submissive position. Is that he picks up Detroit in the exact same manner in which his boss at that point, who wasn't even the overall man, the bottom boss on the totem pole, is fucking the shit out of Cassius on screen. Excuse my language for that, because there might be kids watching that, but he is backboning, getting into Cassius's guts on screen the same way Cassius, as like the hero picking up the damsel in distress and saving their life, as Cassius is and that for me weirded me out for the rest of the movie, especially with the horse symbolism and the apples and the entire movie. That from that point let me know Cassius has no self-respect. There will be no grown man holding me up in the air, blowing my back out in front of my entire office while these motherfuckers are planning a strike. They're planning a strike, and you're being humped by this dude. The handshakes and the slaps of the hands. No, I totally get that. Like it really is like that. You close a deal. You ring bell. There's one time I ring bell and I fell out of my seat. I was so excited, and I just laid there for a second in like the euphoria of having closed 4 or 5 deals that day. It felt great. It felt incredible. Um, Cassius was not a strong man in this movie whatsoever. He basically watches Squeeze take his girlfriend, Squeeze in Detroit, and this is Detroit doing her own thing, trying to be whatever she is and whatever the hell she represents. The pink, black, and whatever earring that she had means she'll fuck anybody. She'll have sex with anybody she wants to. Her pussy is not controlled by anybody. It just kind of sold Cassius's soul so early in the movie that at the end of it, we have Steve Liff looking around him in amazement as Cassius completely sways the entire party, and it's a bunch of white people saying the N word. You knew it was done for Cassius Clay. You knew he was over. He did not turn to Muhammad Ali. He did not go from what was it, Tennessee Red or whatever like that, into freaking Malcolm X. There was no moment like that for Cassius until way after this. And at that point, when someone knows that you're willing to give up your self-respect, you're willing to give up your personal identity, you're willing to give up your friends, you're willing to give up your family for a bunch of zeros, and that's really what it is. It means nothing. For a bunch of zeros at the end of the day, they're going to do whatever they want to, and that's exactly what happens. He puts out this plate of I don't really go for what it was, the catalyst, the enhancer catalyst or whatever it is, the salty dust that looks like cocaine. And Cassius, at every phase of this movie, it's like he gets the promotion to power caller after going through a strike, and he doesn't even wait for a cup. You're in front of your bosses, man. You're in front of your freaking managers, and you're just drinking out of the bottle. And the only reason they're forgiving it and getting out with it is because, and this is the sad part of the movie, and it exposes this in so many ways, because you're black, because you're from Oakland, and they have no higher standard from you. You're so excited about becoming a power caller without really analyzing what it's about or what you're doing or having any care for what this is going to do to your immortal soul as a man, as a human being on this fucking planet Earth. You're so concerned and so willing to do anything for money. You don't realize that from the very beginning of this movie into the very end of the movie, Cassius was being used and Cassius was a ploy by management. They're talking about you up there, man. You're going to be PC, power caller, baby. Here's the apple, motherfucker. You keep chasing after this apple for as long as we can use you for. You keep making us as much money as you possibly can, and we'll keep stroking your ego like nothing motherfucking else. We're not going to fulfill your soul. We're not going to save your family. We're not going to pray your friends better. We're not going to treat you any better. But you will keep stroking your freaking ego so you can keep digging yourself deeper and deeper into hell as much as you want. And it's just freaking like that, man. They will have you in a full-out scam, scamming people, setting them up for meetings that last. There are meetings that, this is a quick sidetrack, sorry about this, but it's very important. This is what made me ultimately quit the job, is that, one, you're using me, that my first day ever working for Power Home Remodeling, it was a full-out storm outside. This is late November. It's about 30 degrees outside. It's storming, and I am soaked through my clothes going door to door to door to door. I only got 3 freaking leads that day, man. There's days I walk around with 5 leads, and that's kind of a lot, sadly. I only got 3 freaking leads that day, and that was just for some sense of a moral victory to falsely identify my masculinity, to falsely identify my manhood, to see how far I could push myself, because it was my first day on the job. I'm sitting there with my team leader, and I really have to show up and show what I'm about. And from that point forward, it's like you can't complain about anything else because this is what your first day is like. You know, you can't complain about how they're treating you, Cassius, because you let them know that you were desperate as soon as you walked in the door. Cassius doesn't even try to understand. He doesn't ask, "Hey Steve, are you doing a line too? Hey Steve, where's your cocaine?" You know, there's no he doesn't question anything that's going on. Cassius only and this is like the sad reality about the type of black man that he shows, is that Cassius only questions his own people. He questions his own friends. He doesn't question these complete strangers selling slavery and selling arms to, like, our fucking enemies, selling arms to fucking China. You know, like, they're obviously not freaking Trump supporters. Like, they don't give a fuck about America. They don't give a fuck about the citizens here. They're selling weapons to our enemy, doing the same crap we did back in World War II. There's no sense of, like, loyalty or unity in Cassius, so there's definitely no sense of loyalty and unity within the Steve Lift character. And Steve Lift, he's just like all these guys, and it's like what they're doing is it's the Equisapiens, but in real life, I don't know if they're doing shit like Equisapiens. There's talk about cloning and shit like that, but the major thing, and this is who Steve Lift identifies with, is Elon Musk. Is that Elon Musk is in the news? He's on Joe Rogan. He's in all these outlets warning the world about AI technology and the dangers of AI and how far AI technology has already gone, how it's already gone awry, how they already cannot control AI technology. They already have no idea what this is going to lead to, but it's what he's getting paid for, so he doesn't give a fuck. He just keeps doing it. You know, Elon Musk probably has the worst financial skills in the entire freaking world. But when you have terrible financial skills like Elon Musk does, you have to do inhuman, or like Cassius does, for instance, you have to do horrendous, horrific things towards humanity because your funding is constantly running out. You keep spending your money before you make it. You keep spending all your money as soon as you get it. So then you're poor all over again, and you feel as if you have to work from this poor aspect of life, which doesn't help you. Which is why Elon Musk is one of the greatest enemies of mankind. Is that there's no real internal transformation for Elon Musk. He's doing the same thing that he's been doing since he was a kid. Steve Bliss is doing the same thing he's been doing since he was a kid. And they know no other life. They cannot identify what they're doing is wrong. They can't have a sense of consciousness about it because their entire, this is what happens to Cassius basically, their entire identity is wrapped up in promoting the advancement of human slavery. This is more than likely what their ancestors were making money off of, and their ancestors didn't find it wrong. So anybody else is, as Steve, you're just griping, you're just complaining. If you don't like work, I love working. I love going into worry free. I love controlling worry free. I love telling you people what to do. How do you not like working? Because I'm being told what to freaking do. My life has no value, and I'm selling people just like me to people like you. And he's just like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with me in turning and involuntarily turning my top workers and my top salesmen into literal workhorses, actual metaphorical workhorses? What's wrong with this? He's like, I don't want you to feel like I'm crazy for this. I don't want you to feel like I'm doing something that's fucked up. And no matter how you try to slice it, no matter how you try to put it, it's fucked up. And it's so much of this when you're managing a company. I can see why I've never got a management position because like you're managing humans. It is your human resource department. Humans are the resource. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what your product is. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. People power your resources. This is a movie for me. This is a conversation I was having with a sergeant in the military this is back in Ohio, going to Kent State University, is that we're living in feudal America. America is a very young nation, first and foremost. So a lot of the things that we're dealing with, labor laws, gender rights issues, kind of finding our cultural identity as American citizens, it's happening the way it's happening. It's the same way like me raising my kid right now, is that you're dealing with someone who's essentially like a lower life form. Like it's animals, essentially. You know, there's no idea, there's not enough history of having done the right thing. There's no time to look back in history and say, this is how we solved our problems before, because the country's so young, all you're running into is problems. All you're running into is disconnection and repeating the same issue between the British and the colonizers over and over and over and over again in this country. First, it's the British and the colonizers. Then it's the Americans and it's the Indians. Then it's the Americans and it's the slaves as well, the Indians. And then it's the immigrants coming into the country. No matter what color the immigrants are, whether they're Russian, Italian, Irish, Jewish, whatever the hell it is, you're dealing constantly with the same issue in this country over and over and over and over again, as if no lesson is being learned, and that slavery is wrong. Indentured servitude is wrong. And the main movie point of this movie, because I don't agree with either side. I don't agree with Squeeze, and I do not agree with Steve Lift. I feel like they're reflections of the same coin, in which it was a very Cold War aspect to it, in which you're basically choosing between the American empire, in which we're gonna go country to fucking country, murder your leader, remove him, put one of our puppet Banana Republic dictators in place, and we're going to control things from the outside. I'm going to turn Cassius to a horse portion to be the MLK, not the Malcolm X, not the Marcus Garvey, not the Frederick Douglass, not any, not the Medgar Evers, not any pivotal, useful character for this company to actually make sure that you have right. I'm gonna put someone in place who doesn't give a fuck about himself, so he damn sure doesn't give a fuck about you. Because once I sign this motherfucker this money and he gets these checks every week and he's getting that big horse stick and I'm gonna make some horse females, I'm gonna get some horse pussy, he's not gonna give a fuck about any of you. Period. He's gonna keep coming to my parties as a fucking horseman, be the life of a party, fucking human bitches, having half horse, half human babies. He's not gonna give a fuck about any of you. He's gonna lead you to hell. He's gonna lead you to damnation. And that's exactly what's been happening across the freaking world, is that you have such potential in places like Haiti, places like Nigeria, places like Uganda, but their leaders are being murdered and replaced with these people that don't give a fuck about anybody, not even themselves. It's not even like they don't give a fuck about anybody and they give a fuck about themselves, because that would be somewhat useful. Because if you have a very high level of self-care and a very high level of self-love, and as someone who has that, it's very disturbing when someone else does not have self-love. It's very disturbing when someone else isn't trying to bring themselves up to your level. You know, versus the opposite issue where you don't give a fuck about yourself, so you're used to people not giving a shit, so why even bother caring about these people? Um, it's a movie, so I'm not really angry at any specific person. And then I'll get the other side of this too. Hold on, let me close this point real quick. And then the other side of this, in this Cold War aspect, you're dealing with an actual like Asian person, is dealing with fucking communist Russia, that you could work your balls off your body and you're going to get paid the same amount as the person sitting next to you. We had the perfect example when learning about communism, learning about socialism back in the day in our a nice capitalistic education, is that in a communist society, let's say you work at a pizza shop, you only get paid whatever you make, like 10 rupees an hour or whatever. Hopefully more than that, because rupees aren't, I don't know what the fuck Russian currency is today. I really don't. I'm not that educated about Russian like environment or anything like that. I don't give a shit about Russia. Putin's a very honorable leader, respectable man, whatever, but still, I don't give a shit about Russia. I'm American. You can get paid the same amount as a guy with one fucking arm doing half the work that you are, doesn't give a crap about his position whatsoever. You can make 5 pizzas in 30 minutes, you know, and you're quick at making pizzas. You're amazing at making pizzas. You're so attentive to the customer's orders, but you're getting paid the same amount as one-armed Joe right next to you, who can only make one pizza every 30 minutes, struggles with it, fucks up the order half the time. But hey, he has one arm, so he needs a freaking job. If that doesn't reveal to you what's wrong with unions, if that doesn't reveal to you what's wrong with raising the minimum wage, you have no fucking idea how to live life whatsoever, and we can't be fucking friends. And that's fine, because we're already not friends. We're not learning and doing anything different. Having more comfortable forms of slavery is not a better life for yourself. I'm sorry to break that to you. $14 an hour is not going to make your life any freaking different. $20 an hour is not going to make your life any freaking different. Your mentality as a person, even if you make $30,000 a year, you can retire with millions of dollars earning $30,000 a year. It's not the amount of money that you make, it's the amount of money that you keep. It's your mentality about money. It's your understanding of finances. And this isn't a capitalistic thing. This is just a general idea of how to manage resources, how to manage your personal life. It is what you use and I've been homeless before. It's what you use your personal life for that gives your life meaning, that makes your life worth living. It is not the amount of money that you make. It is not how nice your belongings and your things are. It isn't how much sex you're getting as a man or how much sex you're getting as a woman. It's not even how many friends that you have. It's how much you really, it's how well, rather, you take care of yourself and understand your personal value to take the opportunities that you're given and then invest within yourself and your education, maybe, or invest within somebody else or their business or what have you. And you're progressively trying to make yourself better, trying to make your position better. You're not just relying upon other people or relying upon Steve Lift to give you. It's like, no, I'll keep my job, but can you tell me how do I get your level? It's knowledge that makes the world go round. It's not money. It's knowledge. It's education, and real education. Being able to lead is what gives you value. That is what's important in this world. And it's more than just, you can't lead other people until you can lead yourself. Because again, then you're just leading someone straight to hell. It's a blind leading the blind. You have to be able to manage and lead yourself before you can do anything else with people. It's self-governance more than anything else that is important. So I don't feel like, I feel like the union is a very good thing. Do not get me wrong. It's a very good base level to start at, is ensuring that you have a base pay, ensuring that your commission is proper, ensuring that your people are meeting their basic needs in life. But we're no longer living in a time, we're no longer living in a universe in which we're really worried about our basic needs. We're worried about our emotional needs. We're worried about our mental needs. We're worried about security. We're worried about leaving a legacy. We're worried about things that money can definitely assist with, but they're things that money really cannot buy. They're things that you personally have to realize in yourself what's missing for your life. So you might go through a phase of like generativity. I really can't say the word right, but wanting to give back and wanting to be generous, wanting to give back from your legacy and what you've done. Really, that's essentially leaving an impact. I can spell the word for you at least. Generavity is the word. Generavity? Or, I don't know. I really don't know how to pronounce it properly. I knew at one point in my life, I do not know now. That is really what's the driving force, and like what I see in this movie is that Cassius wants so bad to give back to something that by the time he does come full circle, by the time that he is ready to help the movement, he's already gone off the deep end. It wasn't like he went to his friends first and then he went on the Get Your Ass Kicked show. It's not like he looked for self respect and redemption first. He continued on the same path, and I guess he was already so far gone, of completely humiliating himself, completely having no sense of dignity or any sense of self respect, being as desperate as humanly possible to get a message across, and then at the end of the day, he didn't get a message across. At the end of the day, he was in a worse position than he was before that. And it's the sad thing. All he had to do the entire movie was just support his freaking friends. That's it. That was the full circle of the movie, was that he made all this money. He's gonna turn into a freaking horse person. He's lost everybody. Both his friends have probably had their way with his girlfriend. And now what is he? He has nothing at the end of the day. He's completely lost. He started the movie as a loser. He ends the movie as a loser. He goes complete. It's a complete 360 for him. And now he's not even a human anymore. So it's like, if there were any negative degrees that you can go on a circle, it's like he completely broke the circle. So he does break the will of the system. I have a Game of Thrones reference there. He breaks the will of the system. And then he's on the ground. It's like the horse-drawn carriage has completely broke, but he still has the reins attached to him. And it's like he goes right back to Steve Lift. And, it would have been one thing if he showed that he was going to hit Steve Lift. But these people, they're sociopaths. They're master manipulators. He bringing up the fact that, hey, I'm gonna give you $5 million or $100 million. I don't remember. I think it was $100 million he offered him. Hey, buddy, like, come on, I'm your friend. I think you guys are beautiful. I did this to help. Or just like, where the fuck else are you guys gonna go? Get back in the goddamn stables. There's security there. It's like you're walking into a fucking battlefield. It's like this movie did its job so perfectly that it shows you what not to be. It is so much better to be a Mr. Blank and to And this is completely biblical, not to be lukewarm. These are the dangers of being lukewarm, folks. These are the dangers of playing the fence. These are the dangers of trying to play for God and play for Satan at the exact same time. Is that you're going to end up selling your soul down the middle, and then there's nothing to go back to. Then the kingdom of darkness doesn't want you like that, and the kingdom of light cannot receive you because there's no light left inside you. You're just an empty vessel. And that's all Cassius is. Cassius has no morality. Cassius has no religion. Cassius has no belief system. Cassius doesn't even give a fuck about Africa, where he comes from, if he doesn't believe that he's Hebrew or Moor or something else like that. Cassius has no leg to stand on whatsoever. So he's kind of like this disposable protagonist that all these things can happen to Cassius because at the end of the day and at the beginning of the beginning of the day, the beginning of the movie, he has no value. Cassius could have had value being a strikebreaker. He could have had value being a great friend. He could have had value being an amazing boyfriend. There's so many different angles that real life could have taken from that if he is Detroit's husband or Detroit's boyfriend, and he just supports her movement. He just tries to see the world from her perspective, or he doesn't. He can't see the world from her perspective because he wants more from her and more for himself. But he honestly works towards using his skills and using his abilities, like he shows that he's more than capable of doing at the end of the movie, to actually make his girlfriend successful and actually help her get to where the hell he needs to be in life. They could have started their own business. They could be taking their marketing skills. One of my favorite movies ever in life is Accepted, the movie in which they started in college. They could have took that movie, and instead of doing this strike shit, they could have been like, you know what? Why don't we take our abilities to telemarket and we sell Detroit's art products? That would have been an entirely different movie. Next thing you know, it's like this competing company type thing that they have all these people wanting to come and telemarket for them because they're paying people properly, they're giving people great opportunities, they're giving people great benefits, and they're working for people who give a fuck about other people. But this wasn't a capitalist movie. This isn't a movie about free enterprise. This isn't a movie about the rah-rah amazing things about America. This is a communist flick. This is definitely a revolutionary movie, and I'm very happy for that because it reminds me a lot of like parts of my writing. But it's just the overall message and takeaway for this movie for me was that you got to stand for something. You have to, and it's so true of that. A man who stands for nothing will stand for anything, and Cassius is the perfect example of that, in which he doesn't stand for anything. He does not have a single viewpoint. He's one of those conspiracy theorists who are afraid of everything in the same way that they don't care about anything, so self-defeatist, so just nonchalant and blasé, is that Cassius began this movie without a soul. He began this movie not caring about his fate. He began this movie not caring about what happens to him. So at the end of it, as much as I feel bad for his character, as much as I feel bad for what happens to him, I saw it coming the entire time because he had every warning and every opportunity to be a man, to stand for something, to care about something more than money, to care about something more than just his feelings or his ego, and he doesn't. And he refuses to. And he turns away from everybody who cares about him. It's the sad part, like Squeeze, the man who turns out to be the anti-hero and turns out to do everything but sex with his girlfriend, sees Cassius' potential from the very beginning, and it's like so true of this. And that if you are an awakened soul, if you are someone who's on this soul journey to really liberate your soul, liberate other people from spiritual shackles and mental shackles, you understand how important it is that other people see your potential, other people see your purpose, other people see how amazing and how great you are, but it intimidates them, it scares them, they can't handle that crap because it shows them how little is inside of them. And I feel like that's like, I felt this sense of jealousy between Squeeze and Cassius the entire movie because Cassius has all the potential. Detroit even says after his dick literally does get bigger because he's turning to a horse person, Detroit's like, it's the same size because he already had a big dick. What more do you need from that? And that's my son crapping to confirm that I had a great point, It's Cassius had everything that he needed. Even the people that are grooming him to be a horse person, the people that are riding him like a rodeo show, they see his potential. They see his capability. He's a part of the movement. He's supporting it. He gives up. If he was really about nothing, he gave up a sales call that he was 3 seconds away from. When I really thought, I'm going back a lot in this movie, but when the strike first breaks out inside the office, and the guy's going, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I thought Cassius was going to switch between going rah rah, fuck Regal View, and then try to close that fucking deal on the phone to show that, like, I'm not with you guys, I'm not supporting you. But he does stand up and support his friends. He does try his best to do what he can. But you can't, because your best is not good enough. You know, you can get 10 people together and your best is not good enough. This life that we're living is not so much, it's not, and this is my solution to it all. This is my closing point, because I'm going to be doing a lot more with this. I really want to do some character profiles and a lot more with this movie. But life is not so much about making change. Life really isn't about making that much of an impact. It really isn't. Because if you really take a look at your 50 years of existence, maybe your 20 years of existence, sadly, some people don't make that long, or 70 years, your life is not about making as much money as you can. It really isn't. Your life isn't about having sex with as many people as you can or trying every drug as you can. It's not about being happy. It's not about being miserable. It's not about anything more than standing for something. Your life is about, if you are a capitalist, you shred yourself within capitalist principles and you live your life as a capitalist, and that's how you find, it's the only way that you find joy within the entirety of the universe. Beyond being an American citizen or anything else, the only way that you're going to find joy in the universe is if you stand for something in the world. If you don't stand for anything, you're never going to be happy, you're never going to be joyful, and everybody is going to use you. You're going to be a people pleaser until you die, and people are going to use you and abuse you. They're going to fuck up they're going to have you cheat on your spouse. They're going to have you do anything they want with you because you have no belief system. You don't give a fuck about anything but yourself. And sadly, in this case, what happens with most American citizens, you really don't even give a fuck about yourself. You really don't even care about your life or your health or anything that you're going through. So that's the movie. Sorry not to bother you. This was a very vehement review. This is like, I think, half as long as the movie. If I went for another 30 minutes, you possibly could have watched the movie instead of listening to me speak. So I'm done. I'm probably going to break this video up into a few different points, because it is an hour long, and that's kind of a lot. And that's all I want to do to begin with, so I guess I'm happy with that. So thank you so much for listening. Peace, family. And if you're looking for more content that reflects this, my own story, Boomaye, takes a much different spin. It's about a young character named Noah. He's 15 years old. He's growing up in 1863 as a slave, 1863, 1864, right during that Civil War, antebellum period. And he leads the revolution against this. And it goes on to be a 3-part series. I really highly suggest you check it out. It's available on Wattpad for free. If you feel like supporting the arts and getting things going, you can buy it on Amazon as well. Just Boomaye by Daryl Omar on Amazon.com. Just Google search me, Google search Boomaye, and you'll definitely find it out. Another work, Birth of the Brotherhood. If you are looking at my Wattpad, Faux Crimson on Wattpad, just check it out, man. Because the movement is so much more about tearing down the system. It's so much more about tearing down the structure. Life is honestly about, and I'm going to close after this, life is about you finding something that you believe in, you finding something that you stand for, either doing it on your own or surrounding yourself with a community that believes the same thing. And within your community, you can change those people's lives. You can't change the world because the world does not want to be like you. Other people don't want your life. Other people do not agree with you. That's why there's so much polarization in the world. If you're a Republican, people don't want to be Republican. They want to be Democrat. They want to be independent. Or they want to be part of the Green Party. Stop trying to convince people. Stop trying to control people to see the world you do when you can very easily. And maybe this is what I did, so it's my personal perspective even still. And even that, you don't have to agree with me. That's the beautiful thing about being an American citizen. You have a First Amendment right to completely disagree with me. Post in the comments below and let me know how you disagree with me. Life is about you standing for something, You have a belief system. You have a code of ethics and a sense of determination, and you bring that with you everywhere you go. You don't look for a job to give you money. The job looks for you to make them some motherfucking money. That's what goes on, and that's what needs to happen if you want to get promotions or you want to move forward in the world. You don't look for people to make you happy. People seek you out because they see that you're joyous. They see that you're living a life of purpose. They see that you have principles and you have dignity and you have standards, and that's something that they want. Even if they don't want your particular standards, they don't want your particular lifestyle, they like your sense of conviction to what you believe in. And that's how you garner respect. That's how you garner adoration. That's how you turn into someone that can lead themselves and eventually lead movements and things, because you're uncorruptible, you're unconquerable. Because even if you lose, your life doesn't revolve around victory. Your life doesn't revolve around getting up and above somebody else. Your life revolves around you becoming a better person. And if we would have learned that in the Cold War, if we would have learned that and learned that far past learning it from Jesus the Christ, if we would have learned that back in like 40,000 freaking years ago, the world would be such a different place. We might have some sense of world peace. We might be able to coexist with other people. But right now, the world's all about competition. The world's all about me being better than you, me being right and you being wrong. It's not about dialogue. It's not about discussion. It's not about understanding. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about profit. It's all about gain. It's all about what can I get from you and what can you do for me. And that's a really fucked up way to live, man. I don't live that way. I would never advertise you live that way, but if you do, I'm not going to judge you for it. Once again, my name's Daryl Omar Shabazz. Peace, family. Thank you so much for spending this much time listening to me rant and rave about Sorry Not to Bother You. If you liked it, please leave a like and a comment below. Subscribe to my channel. I will not be doing too many. If you can find a movie that resonates with everything else we're doing in the channel, maybe I'll review it the same type of way, but I'm not going to be doing too many things like this. This is more of a lecture. This is more of an analysis. This is something that I do on the channel where I do talk for an hour and a half to maybe even 2 hours, sadly and like surely, about topics that really matter to the world because it needs to be done. You don't have to watch this video all at once. You don't have to finish this in one sitting, but it's good to get through. It's good to skip around. It's good to find the major important parts. Skip 15 minutes at a time and whatnot of this video just to get the major points and keep moving with your life. But don't be a slave to anybody. Don't even be a slave to yourself. Try to turn your mind into your servant. Try to turn your fleshly slave body into a vessel for productivity, for something that you believe in. Stop being so desperate to make money. Stop being so desperate to make other people happy. Focus on finding something that you personally believe in. Focus on finding something that you can revolutionize your own life with. And then once you get good at that, once people see how hard you work on it, once people see you really making progress with all this, then they're going to be like you. Then they're going to want to follow you. Then they're going to join you. People are not going to support you when you're building something up. People aren't going to support you when you seem iffy. People are only going to support you when you have achieved whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. People are going to support you then. And it's not going to be everybody. It's only going to be the people that are searching for the same thing that you're looking for. Stop trying to change the world and change your fucking self. Stop trying to be Cassius Green. Stop trying to be Squeeze. Stop trying to destroy the fucking system and ruining it for fucking everybody. Stop trying to be a Steve Lift. Stop trying to fucking control other people and force people to your will. Trying to fucking subdue people and manipulate them to live the life that you want them to live instead of living the life that they were meant to live. Stop trying to steal from people. Stop trying to fucking enslave humanity. Focus on living your own fucking life, people. Stop worrying so much about other people. Stop worrying so much what other people think. Stop worrying so much what other people are fucking going through. You know, I know that sounds selfish, but you can't help other people until you can help your fucking self. You can't tell other people what to believe in if you understand what the hell you believe in. Stop trying to skip levels in this shit. You were wiping your ass about 50 years ago. Some of you even younger than that. Some of you were wiping your own ass like 18 years ago. You're pooping your pants in a diaper. You're just learning how to walk, just learning how to speak. The idea of you being 20, stop being so prideful. You're 20 or you're 30, and you think you know everything about the universe, and you think the world's so fucked up. The world's not fucked up, man. The world's always been this way. This is the best time to be alive. You used to have to hunt for food, and most of you can't even lift a fucking barbell. That's a goddamn shame. A barbell's only 45 fucking pounds. How the hell are you gonna hunt your own food? How the hell are you gonna go a week fucking going place to fucking place in a nomadic lifestyle. You know, we bitch and moan so much about life. We bitch and moan so much about reality. We bitch and moan so much about not being able to afford the latest bag or not having money or shit like that. You used to have to hunt for fucking food. You used to have to build your own fucking house by your own fucking hand. And not these beautiful, luxurious, amazing homes that we have now, made from brick, made from wood, with amazing siding or great roofs, in which you can just get your roof. We used to live in fucking huts. We used to live in fucking caves, you fucking pansies. We've gotten so weak as fucking society that as everything around us gets so much better and so much easier, we still have the utmost sense of dependence upon people that want us fucking enslaved. And that's something that's never going to stop. The Babylonians did it. The Assyrians did it. Fucking Rome did it. Britain did it. Now America's doing it. Now everybody's trying to do it to each other. This shit's not going to stop until we stop it, folks. I'm telling you, it's not going to stop until we fucking stop it. Remove yourself from the slave system. Live a life of freedom. Live a life in which you make your own fucking money. And if you do work with a company, you make that company some goddamn money, so they're paying you a percentage off of what you make. Stop letting yourself be a slave. Stop letting yourself be undervalued. This is going to miss a lot of people. Not everyone's like me. Not everyone is like me, and I'm so happy for that. I'm glad to be within that top 5% and working my ass towards me in the top 5%. I'm not trying to be like the 95% of the fucking world, struggling for existence, complaining about other people's life, complaining how other people control my life. I am 25 years old. I control my life. You know, no one else does. I do. Sad reality. The good, the bad, the benefits of that, the negative of that, I accepted 1000% wholeheartedly, because that's the only way to live your life, in my eyes, in my opinion. Some people like people pleasing. Some people don't even understand that there's something wrong with the American system. It's the only thing they've ever known. They don't know that we're living in a demonic homeland. They don't understand how fucked up this world is. They really don't. God bless their heart and God bless their innocence and naivete. But that's me. There's a lot more content for that on the writinglifestyle.net and Novel Eden YouTube channel. Just stay tuned, folks. This isn't a fucking revolution. This is a goddamn movement. We're trying to change people. We're not trying to change the fucking world. Have a great day.